Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Fantasy Fellow Show. My name is Kyle, and tonight it is July 12th. It's a little after 9 o'clock Central Time here. We're going to be doing a live PPR mock draft. I'm sorry I'm coming live a little bit late tonight. I just had a busy evening after work. I took some time off this weekend. I had a very nice birthday weekend, and we are set to go for the week. So we're just doing a live PPR mock draft tonight. We're on ESPN. We're doing a 12-team mock draft. I'm drafting from the 6th spot. I've done some videos drafting 11th and 12th. We've done one drafting, I think, 2nd or 3rd. So I'm just trying to get like a good range of the field, and we're going to do as many of these as we can before we start drafting, in a month or so. So with this one, we're set up in the 6th spot. We'll be doing, the full draft here. We got Justin with us here tonight, drafting from the 6th spot. We're going to be targeting Ezekiel Elliott. But before the draft begins, we got a minute left. I just want to paint the picture for the rest of the week. Again, if you don't have the 2021 draft kit, what I'm going to be doing this week is we're going to be reviewing. And if you haven't seen all of the videos that we have going over opportunity share, yard share, and target share, we're going to be going over all my projections for these stats. So like if we look at the running backs, I have all my projected opportunity, yard, and target shares. We're going to be doing all those videos this week. We'll just do a separate running back, a separate wide receiver, a separate tight end video. And that's going to basically tell us who we're going to be drafting. And yes, Ezekiel Elliott is on my list. He is going to eat very much so. I'm very excited about the Dallas offense. I might be putting out some free articles too soon about just like offenses that we want to. I guess I just put out that video a couple days ago with it's the thumbnail with all the coaches on it. Like, what offenses do we want to be a part of? We want to be a part of Dallas, whether it's Dak, whether it's Zeke, or one of the wide receivers or a tight end. I think Dallas is going to be very fruitful. So we're going to start the draft here. I'm going to turn that stupid sound off so we don't hear Matthew Berry. But anyways, live PPR mock draft coming in. If you guys are new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe. Leave me a comment. Let me know if you guys want to see any other specific videos throughout the rest of the summer. But we're 2 weeks away from training camps. That's when it's going to get fun. We'll keep pumping out the mocks. We'll keep pumping out the videos almost every day for you guys. So we see Christian McCaffrey go off the board first here. I'm assuming sometimes it gets crazy. Some people, reach up for Jonathan Taylor in the top 5. So there's an opportunity one of the top 5 guys falls to us. That's, probably Kamara or Derrick Henry or Saquon Barkley. One of those guys sometimes falls. But for the most part, if you're sitting at that 6th spot, you got to think about Ezekiel Elliott, probably Jonathan Taylor, and then you got to consider, do you want to be the first guy to take the tight end and Travis Kelce, or should we be looking at a wide receiver, Davante Adams, Tyreek Hill? Now, I am under the impression that Aaron Rodgers will play for Green Bay this year, so I think it's time to stop fading Davante Adams. And look at that, Ezekiel Elliott just went number 2 overall. Oh, man. So that guy's mad hype on Ezekiel Elliott, which is we wanted to take Ezekiel Elliott at 6, and you see people have reason to take him at number 2 overall, which it's just going to push us Dalvin Cook, Alvin Kamara, or Derrick Henry. So we missed on Elliott, but that just lets you know how good of a player he can be. And we are up to pick here. I'm not going to debate it. It's Derrick Henry. I think if you're in the top 5 picks, you're guaranteed McCaffrey, Elliott, Barkley, Cook, or Kamara. Or Derrick Henry, like those top 6 spots. I think I want to see it with Kelce. Man, if it was Barkley, I might go Kelce, but we can kind of do a hypothetical too and talk through those situations. So I'm just going to take Derrick Henry because he's the higher ranked player on my board, I believe. But with Kelce, say we take Kelce at number 6 here, we're probably going to want a running back at the number 2 at the round 2 spot. So if they're going to toss me Derrick Henry at 6, I don't like to get too cute with it. Even if I go into a draft knowing what I want to do, I'm still going to make sure I'm sticking to my board. And these are my PPR projections right here. Let me see if I can zoom out just a tad here, so that gets everything in the window. I technically have Derrick Henry as my 10th ranked player off the board, but he's my number 4 running back. So I kind of view these top 5 running backs in Henry, Barkley, Cook, Kamara, McCaffrey. Those guys are, the clear top 5 picks. And then we can get, take any of these wide receivers off the board first. And then there's Travis Kelce. So we're going to lap up Henry at 6 all day. He's going to lead the league in rushing yards, so I have no problem with this. And then so after we take Henry, you do see Travis Kelce go, Davante Adams, Tyreek Hill, Austin Eckler. I think as I get to do more of these drafts, the draft really doesn't start until the 7th pick, because I'm assuming the top 6 picks, they can go in any order, but it's the running backs that you see here on the right side. And then really when you're at number 7, I think that might be the hardest position to draft from this year, that 7-8 spot. So if you want Travis Kelce, that's probably where you need to sit. Otherwise, you're probably taking one of those top receivers off the board, and you're going to let maybe Jonathan Taylor is a guy for you. I don't like him that high. I'd rather have the number one tight end or a chance at the number one wide receiver instead of like a top 7, top 8 running back. So for me, that 7 spot is where things get really spicy, and we'll see what comes back here. So you see Tyreek Hill, Devontae Adams go 8th and 9th, Austin Eckler, Stephon Diggs, and Jonathan Taylor's falling a little bit. He's at number 7 ranked in ESPN's projections, and he's still not off the board. So I'm assuming this Daniels guy, this fellow on the clock here, and I'm wondering, so you got the bell turned on? I don't know what the issue is. Tonight was a late video. I had to work late a little bit tonight. But I think for the most part, we're going to be doing the majority of the videos on time. I might do you guys like, I'm probably just going to do more live videos. It seems to have a little bit more fun for me. So we'll do more live videos, and we'll go at a normal time the rest of the week. Yes. It's annoying. But anyways, we're moving into the second round here. We do see Jonathan Taylor go 12th overall. That's probably the latest I've seen Jonathan Taylor go. And then he pairs him with Nick Chubb. That's a really good move there. I think the more that I do these drafts, I like getting a top 6 pick because at worst, you're guaranteed Ezekiel Elliott. Otherwise, I like being dead last. I like being 12th because you do sometimes get a Nick Chubb and Aaron Jones. You get a chance at Antonio Gibson, Joe Mixon. You kind of get to pick whatever 2 running backs you want, or if you wanted to take a receiver, you totally can. So that's kind of my draft preference. I want a top 5 or 6 pick, or I want to be 12th. So we're up to pick here. We already have Derrick Henry on the team. We don't have a lot of receptions here. I like Najee Harris quite a bit. I like DeAndre Swift. I like Miles Sanders. But again, the opportunity, I think right now, I mean, just look at this. I have Calvin Ridley as my 7th highest player on the board. DK Metcalf, AJ Brown. And whereas I have, let's see, all the way down here, that's where Najee is at my 30th in PPR. So to me, the more value is going, I think I'm going to wait on running back a little bit in this one. We're going to take Calvin Ridley. He's going to be the number 1 wide receiver for the Falcons. And just the way that this is set up, like I have this filtered by total PPR points. And the difference, I know running back has more value technically from a position standpoint, but I have Najee Harris projected for 253.5 points. Let me just divide that real quick by 17. 253.5 divided by 17. That's roughly 15 points per game. And then Calvin Ridley up here, I mean, I got him at 314 points. That's, a good amount more. So 314.5 divided by 17. So just on that position alone, he's going to get 18.5 points. So that's well over 3.5 fantasy points per game more. And we're going to try to hit some running backs towards the back half of the draft. But I do like Najee Harris. I just want to try something different because I think a lot of these drafts I've been doing heavy running backs. So, yeah. But you can also, I guess, in round 3, we're going to be looking at maybe a Clyde Edwards-Helaire falling, J.K. Dobbins falling to us. And then even I could pull Chris Carson at number 30 overall. I don't mind that. But then, yeah, otherwise we're probably waiting a little bit. So I don't mind being a little bit softer at my RB2 spot. Because I just know Derrick Henry's not going to leave my starting lineup. I feel pretty safe with that. I just want to look and see. I probably would have taken I would have taken Antonio Gibson for sure. But just the discrepancy of Najee Harris being so far down on my board, I got to stick to my board. I got to make sure I get someone that's rated in the top 10. So we're moving on into the 3rd round here. I guess to close out the 2nd round after I took Calvin Ridley, Najee Harris, DK Metcalf, Miles Sanders, Chris Carson at the end of the 2nd round, DeAndre Swift, AJ Brown, Josh Jacobs, Kittle or Waller, you're passing. Did we miss on Darren Waller? Did Darren Waller go yet? Darren Waller's sitting there at 36. I could take Darren Waller in the 3rd round, and that could be kind of fun. Then we have a really nice, well-rounded base. We got the stud running back, we got a stud receiver, and we got a stud tight end. So that does make sense. Some of the, I guess we'll check my projections in a second when I'm up. I don't know if I could pass up Justin Jefferson, but he just left. So we just missed on Michael Thomas and Justin Jefferson. The chance to get Clyde Edwards-Helaire here, though, that does seem to be like the move that I would do. But I mean, I got Darren Waller as my 19th best player. Clyde Edwards down here is my 45th. So I guess if I stick to that board in terms of value, Darren Waller should be a 3rd round pick. So we're going to go with Darren Waller here. I could see it if you wanted. Yeah, Carson Wentz. He's starting to flirt with that top 25 right now. I think if you get him in the top 30, you're going to be lucky at this point. or I guess after 30, you're going to be lucky. So I'm going to stick to my board, and we're going to take Darren Waller, and all of a sudden we have Derrick Henry, Calvin Ridley, and Darren Waller. So this is looking really well balanced. We're not reaching for anything. Again, we're just sticking to my board. So on this, if I highlight, let's see, I'm going to highlight, where is he? Calvin Ridley. We'll just highlight him in a bright red. We also have Derrick Henry. And we also have Darren Waller. So we have 3 players in my top 20. And then I kind of tiered it so like the quarterbacks are a little bit lower. But we have 3 top 20 players, and we had 3 picks in the top 30. So right now we're winning on value, I think. And we'll be up to picking the 4th round soon. So after you see Darren Waller, Terry McLaurin, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Clyde Edwards-Helaire at 3.8. That's really the only other pick that I was considering there. You're getting a really good running back. And especially if you put Clyde Edwards as your running back too, I think that's where you're going to have fun. Let's see where he finished last year. I'm just curious because, again, a lot of high hopes for him last year. He was a fringe first-round pick, going into the season. And he just wasn't as, dominant in the passing game as people thought. He was running back 22 in 13 games. Like, if he gets us 15, 16 games, he's going to be, probably up in this top 15, which I think that's where I have him for running backs. Let me just double check. He's my running back 15. So, again, we're just trying something where I'm just going to stick to my board and see who falls. There are a handful of running back 2s that I do like. If we can get some rookie running backs, we could get Kareem Hunt's down here. That's a good spot to be. Let's see. Mike Davis is super dirt cheap, starting running back for Atlanta. There's some guys here that we can kind of plug in and play, and then we'll get some potentials at the end of the draft. But going well balanced so far. So yeah, now the issue is the running back, but hope a rookie can step up. Yeah, and so I don't mind being a little bit softer at one position, especially in PPR, man. If I'm really, really good in all my positions, and again, we have our tight end covered, I think that's a spot where, if you don't have Kelsey, Waller, Kittle, all of a sudden you just need 10 points at that spot. But if my Darren Waller is putting up my running back 2 numbers, I just need a running back that's going to get 10, 11 points. So a PPR back could come into value, whether we're just going to throw some hammers at running back. We'll see what happens. But again, I think I was talking to my friend Jesse, I'm going to probably get Jesse on some mock drafts and some talks throughout the summer. But my favorite way to do the draft so far is to get 2 running backs early, especially if I can get 2 of my top guys. If we go back to my projections here, if I can get 2 of, I think Gibbs Harris would be one of the guys here, Cam Akers. If I can get 2 of my top 15 backs, that's usually where I like to go. But anyways, we are almost up to pick here. We are starting the 3rd round or the 4th round. The first part of the 4th round was Jamar Chase, Amari Cooper, George Kittle falling to the 4th. There goes CeeDee Lamb, Pat Mahomes. We're probably going to wait on quarterback since we're a little bit weak at running back. Might as well keep plugging in some of our best position values here. Mike Evans, Adam Thielen. We just missed Myles Gaskin. So let's just take a peek here at my projections and see who arises. I got Tyler Lockett at player 29. That seems to be a pretty good value here. Allen Robinson, McLaurin, Michael Thomas. It looks like Tyler Lockett's my highest rated player. There's Robert Woods. There's Godwin and Deontay. I think we're going to take Tyler Lockett here in the 4th. Nothing else really sticks. I do really, really like DJ Moore. So I think how much time do I got here? I got 10 seconds. Where's my DJ Moore? DJ Moore I have here at 43. Again, I like Tyler Lockett. Maybe we'll see if we can get him on the come around. But we are going to take DJ Moore with this pick. So we got Calvin Ridley and DJ Moore last year with DJ Moore. And again, I've been talking a lot about the Panthers the last handful of podcasts. I think you need to probably pencil in at least 1 Carolina receiver into our draft plans. Teddy Bridgewater led this team to have 3 top 25 wideouts last year. Robbie A was number 20, Curtis Samuel 23, and DJ Moore 25. Curtis Samuel's moved on to Washington. A lot of opportunity and a lot. The thing with DJ Moore too is like his first 2 years in the league, he was strictly a short area kind of guy. And last year with the new coaching staff and the new offense, they stretched him out vertically. So he showed that he can do all of the routes. So I would expect DJ Moore to get some of those Curtis Samuel quick things. The quick setup, the quick slants, get him the ball really easily in space and see what he can do. So I'm totally cool with DJ Moore as my wide receiver too. But again, I guess I wouldn't have minded sticking to my board with Tyler Lockett. The only question with Lockett is it was kind of inconsistent last year throughout the year. He had that massive game where it just let me see if the numbers come up here. I don't know if they will. But he had that massive game against Arizona, 200 yards and 3 touchdowns, and then everything else was kind of lackluster. But we do like the Seahawks stacks here, but we'll see what happens at pick 54. And we're entering the 5th round right now. So that's Deontay Johnson at 501, Cooper Kupp. Would have loved Cooper Kupp here. Worst case scenario, like Tyler Lockett, Odell Beckham, T. Higgins, some really good players available here. There goes Tyler Lockett. I wouldn't mind a T. Higgins. I kind of want to get a part of that Cincinnati offense. If we wanted a quarterback, Kyler Murray, Dak Prescott makes sense here. Personally, I like waiting, down the road here. You can get Lamar, you can get Aaron Rodgers, Justin Herbert, Russell Wilson's really, really cheap here. So who's available for running back? Chase Edmonds, ETN, Kareem Hunt, Mike Davis. I like Kareem Hunt and Mike Davis. I think Kareem Hunt can be a really serviceable PPR RB2 for us. Davis is chilling there. After this, I wouldn't mind James Robinson, Javonte Williams, Kenyon Drake, James Conner, Damien. There's a lot of running backs I like later. So let's go. We're up to pick here. Cortland Sutton. Don't know who his quarterback's going to be. I think to my board, I kind of want to get T. Higgins. I have him ranked as like the wide receiver 26. Don't know I'm nervous about the Steelers. I don't know if I trust Juju this high. He would be my wide receiver 3, so it does make sense. Laviska Shenault's ADP is getting a little out of control here at 58, but I really like T. Higgins. Let me see where T. Higgins falls on my board. So let me highlight DJ Moore. And where is Mr. Higgins? So Higgins is a little bit lower on my list. He's a top 60 pick. But with my projections, we're looking at T. Higgins. So here we go. I have DJ Moore as wide receiver 21. I have, of course, Calvin Ridley, wide receiver 4. And I got T. Higgins at wide receiver 26. So I think he's going to offer some wide receiver 2 upside value for us at this point. And then, I don't mind waiting on running. I mean, at this point, I'd rather get good players and some fun offenses. And T. Higgins is just kind of one of those guys that I find myself wanting to root for. He had a really good season last year. Joe Burrow's coming back. I don't know if I trust the Pittsburgh offense outside of Najee Harris. He's like the one Steeler that I think you can run with this season. But I just want to pull up T. Higgins' number. So just last year, he was wide receiver 28. I know Jamar Chase is added, but A.J. Green racked up 100 and some targets last year. So there's more than enough, room to go around. And if you look at the numbers with T. Higgins before the Burrow injury, Burrow got hurt week 11. So everything up from week 10. I mean, the man had one game below double digits. So I'm feeling pretty excited about Cincinnati. Yeah, the Steelers offense. I think what I'm going to do is that one of these days I'm going to make a video where we just talk like who are the 1 or 2 pieces of an offense that I want to own. For the Steelers, it's like strictly Najee Harris. I really like Deontay Johnson, but I guess in the 5th round, where Deontay Johnson went here, I think I'd rather have a guy like Cooper Kupp. I'd almost rather have a guy like T. Higgins. I don't really see that much difference. And the Rams, excited about Matt Stafford. Cooper's probably going to lead that team in receptions with Deontay. I just get nervous about Ben Roethlisberger and that offense and the offensive line. Just a lot of question marks in Pittsburgh. So anyways, we are currently navigating towards the 6th round of the draft. We have Derrick Henry as our bell cow back. Calvin Ridley, DJ Moore, and T. Higgins are our wide receivers. And we got Darren Waller locked in to our tight end spot. So technically our main starters are filled out at wide receiver, flex, and tight end. And I like the running back op. The fact that we can still get a Kareem Hunt here in the 6th round. Again, I don't expect Kareem Hunt to he was the RB11 last year. It was just insane. But again, a lot of that was with an injured Nick Chubb. But Kareem Hunt, RB10, Nick Chubb was RB11. A full 16 games for Kareem Hunt last year. He averaged 13.7 PPR points per game. And again, if anything happens to Chubb, we're going to get some good running back numbers there. Kareem Hunt did score 11 touchdowns last year. That's probably going to come down to 7, 8, maybe 9. But again, the usage week to week, it was kind of maddening towards the end of the season. But look at the beginning of the year, and that was with Nick Chubb healthy. And then the playoffs, he had 3 touchdowns in the playoffs. I don't mind getting a guy like Kareem Hunt here, and he goes at 6'3", so we missed out on Hunt. We'll kind of reset, recalibrate here. But the 6th round, you see Dak Prescott, Kyler Murray. There's, the 5th round quarterbacks, TJ Hawkinson, Cortland Sutton, Debo, Kareem Hunt, Lamar Jackson, and Travis Etienne. So we're on the board right now. Brandon Cooks just went. The value kind of looks like quarterback should be getting close for us. Aaron Rodgers, Herbert, Russell Wilson. I kind of want to wait and see if we get Wilson at pick number 78. His ADP is 89. Running back, again, Edmonds. We're going to probably wait on running back in this one. There's a handful of guys that I wouldn't mind making as a tandem. But receivers, do we get a guy like Laviska off the bench? I do like Brandon Ayuk. I really like Michael Gallup. He's probably the guy that actually I feel the best about. In the 6th round, I'm just going to do it. I'm going to pull Michael Gallup here. And in most of the leagues that I play in, I do start a second flex. And I just want to show you guys. Michael Gallup, I have him right next to T. Higgins. He's my wide receiver 26 and wide receiver 27. So we're getting a top 30 receiver. I'd rather have Michael Gallup than Julio Jones, Debo, Tyler Boyd, Kenny Galladay, Ayuk, a lot of the players that were selected ahead of him. I think a lot of people forget how good Michael Gallup was just a couple of years ago. And even with the disaster that was last year, he was wide receiver 38. So at his floor, he's a top 32, top 30 wide receiver, and they're starting to use him a little bit more on the inside. So we missed on Russell Wilson. That could have been my biggest mistake here. I think Rodgers is going to play for the Packers. And what sucks is, like, if you're drafting like this weekend, this is like our last chance to get a Rodgers in like the 7th round. Otherwise, he's probably going to snap back up into the top 5, 6 of quarterbacks. Do you have any? Was there news there? Was there news there, Justin? Did I miss something? And Aaron Rodgers goes round 7, pick 1. So we missed on our top quarterbacks. After I kind of miss on a Russell Wilson, I start looking for Herbert still available. I like Tannehill. I like Matt Stafford. Those are probably my next best choices here. But we need some running backs soon. But I don't mind going into my season knowing I have one spot to fill. Again, when I draft, I simply try to get the best players, or players even that I just want to have on my team. So I don't mind having a weak spot at one position. A lot of running backs available. James Robinson's a good option here. Raheem Mostert's going to be the starter, but who knows? But I don't mind Robinson. I like Javonte Williams, Kenyon Drake, James Conner, Damian Harris. I mean, even A.J. Dillon, Naheem Hines. A lot of options yet. Trey Sermon lingers. A lot of these rookie running backs linger yet. So we're doing okay. We're doing just fine. And yeah, that's what sucks. Like in a month from now, we're going to know if Rodgers is playing with the team or not. So we missed on Justin Herbert too. I mean, at this point, this is kind of telling me to just continue taking wide receiver here. What do you guys think about Brandon Ayuk? Or should we just take a rookie running back here? Take our favorite running back. I mean, I've been notorious for drafting James Conner, but I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take Javonte Williams here and see what happens. I do have him as a top 30 running back, but with Melvin Gordon, like the team is already kind of souring on him. He didn't really do much this offseason. He didn't play very great last year either. He had a lot of touchdowns, but he wasn't a very good player from a fundamental and efficiency standpoint. But getting a guy like Javonte Williams, who might be a little bit slow to start the season, you look at a guy like Jonathan Taylor last year. It took him to like week 9, week 10 to fully get going. And with Javonte Williams, it's kind of the same thing. He's got a veteran starter kind of in the way. I just wonder that when the pads come on, does Javonte Williams look so much better? So in the 7th round, Javonte Williams could be a league-winning pick, kind of like a Jonathan Taylor last year. And I think Javonte Williams went higher than Jonathan Taylor in the draft last year. And again, Denver traded up for Javonte Williams, just an interesting option there. So pretty much our entire starting lineup is set besides quarterback. Let's take a look here. I really like waiting for Stafford. So that's kind of the one guy here that makes sense. Tom Brady, though, Ryan Tannehill, Jalen Hurts, Joe Burrow. We're just kind of letting the board come to us and just keep selecting all these good players. But we're moving into the 8th round. We see Brandon Ayuk, Will Fuller, Tom Brady, Jerry Jeudy. Quarterbacks are probably going to go on a run soon. I just want to see. We're probably at like the 10th or something quarterback taken off the board here. So not too many teams need quarterbacks left. So we're guaranteed, one of Tannehill, Hurts, Stafford if we so choose. Maybe we do that here at 91. See if anyone sticks out here. Leonard Fournette at this point. I still like Ronald Jones to be the best running back, but Leonard Fournette could catch some passes and be a useful weekly option for flex PPR. Curtis Samuel, Marquise Brown, Jarvis Landry. There's a lot of older receivers here. If you wanted to wait, you can get Antonio Brown dirt cheap. I think he's going to be a wide receiver 3. Let's see. Otherwise, we're probably getting to the point where the rookie running backs are probably going to pop off the board here soon. So we might play chicken here. Maybe we wait till round 9 to get a quarterback. And because I've waited this long at quarterback, that typically means I'm going to draft 2 quarterbacks, whether that's if I can get Matthew Stafford and pair him with a Kirk Cousins or a Ryan Fitzpatrick, I'll totally do that. So we're going to go back to the running back well here. I'm going to get James Conner. I've been preaching James Conner a lot lately, and I just want people to realize, even though Conner did not live up to his draft capital last year, he still averaged 12.7 PPR points per game. And just look at his game logs here. A lot of games in double digits. He had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 games in double digits here. He is a touchdown maker. He catches the ball pretty well. Only 1, 2, 3, 4 games under that were a disaster, I guess, at that point. So he's a very useful player. He's only 26 years old. And again, in Arizona, Kenyon Drake is gone, and he's leaving behind the PPR RB15 slot here. He had 239 carries, not too many receptions. I still think Chase Edmonds is going to be the lead receiving back on that team, but the upside with a James Conner, they're going to run the ball a lot inside the red zone. So we got some running back help here. I still like a lot of these running backs too. Even Kenyon Drake in Las Vegas. I think Kenyon Drake, it sounds like they're going to be using him a lot as a wide receiver. And that might weed out Jalen Richard a little bit, but they've been using Kenyon Drake out wide. So I'm kind of interested to see if they get Jacobs and Kenyon Drake on the field at the same time. That could, be kind of fun. But Kenyon Drake could potentially be like a poor man's Kareem Hunt at this point. So I'm definitely interested in Drake. I'm interested in Damian Harris. Again, Ronald Jones is still there. Leonard Fournette not too long ago used to be pretty injury prone. So I don't hate it. We're kind of, just winging a couple running backs together here. Derrick Henry, and we'll see if Javonte Williams, James Conner, if these guys hit. All of a sudden, we're looking at a pretty good, strong lineup. But our receivers, Calvin Ridley, DJ Moore, T. Higgins, Michael Gallup, could probably use maybe 1 or 2 more high upside plays, maybe a rookie wide receiver. The only ones available here that I really like, Ruggs is interesting. I really like Mike Williams. I think he's a sleeping giant down here. You can get him outside the top 100. Still don't have a quarterback. Maybe that's our best move. We got some running backs in place. We can play the running back game later. We'll wait for Michael Carter or Trey Sermon down here. So a lot of options. I don't mind getting a Gus Edwards or Tony, a lot of handcuff options as we get lower on the totem pole here. But we're entering the 9th round. Jarvis Landry, Jalen Waddle, Noah Fant. I just want to check out the tight ends real quick. Irv Smith, Jonnu Smith, Eric Ebron. I wouldn't mind a Hunter Henry. Tyler Higbee is my ideal tight end number 2 this year. But we're up to pick. We just missed Ryan Tannehill. So Jalen Hurts. Should we take Jalen Hurts here? I'm into Jalen Hurts. I have him ranked pretty highly. We're just going to do it because I haven't had that much opportunity to talk about him. But in my quarterback rankings, I got him quarterback 10, right behind Justin Herbert. So, getting a top 12 quarterback option, let's see how we did last year. So on a points per game basis, he averaged 9.3, but that's going to take into account all the games where he just got a snap or 2. But his last 4 games of the season, let me make sure I'm filtered here by ESPN rankings. So you see 19.3, 37.8, 18.6, 16.3. So his worst game was 16.3, and he got benched in that game. So he's got a floor of 16 to 18 points. His upside, you see massive here. He had 4 touchdowns in that game against Arizona. So taking a Jalen Hurts, I'm totally cool with it, and we'll probably pair him with another quarterback. If I can get Stafford, I'll totally do Stafford. But, at this point, Hurts or Matt Ryan, or I love Kirk Cousins' value. at that point of the draft. But we're set on quarterback. We have our starting lineup pretty much good to go, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spots remaining to fill out. So we're looking pretty good. A lot of potential running backs on the board here, especially Damian Harris, Ronald Jones, AJ. I think AJ Dillon could be a sneaky 6 or 7 touchdown guy. I mean, we saw it when Aaron Jones got hurt on that Sunday night game against Tennessee. I think it was Week 16 last year. AJ Dillon was a monster. He ran for 2 touchdowns and over 100 yards. So I really like what he could potentially do. One of the Buffalo backs, Zach Moss, is the better touchdown player in there. Again, Michael Carter, the rookie for the Jets. We'll see what happens. I do like the options here at running back. Let's just take a peek at the wide receiver spot. Mike Williams, T.Y. Hilton, Devontae Parker, Michael Pittman Jr., Paris Campbell. Like who really knows who's going to be the number 1 wide receiver for the Colts? We really don't know. That'd be kind of a fun, see what happens kind of situation. But I'm liking this. This actually turned out okay. And if we can get Damian Harris here, I'll be feeling great. Damian Harris is going to be the lead back for the Patriots this season. And Ronald Jones went at 10-3. There's Jamal Williams, Marvin Jones, A.J. Dillon. Tampa Bay defense. Guys taking defense in the 10th round here. So we basically get a freebie. I love Damian Harris here. He's going to be our running back 4. So we got Derrick Henry, Javonte Williams, James Conner, and Damian Harris. Let me just show you guys what Damian Harris did last season. And the thing with Damian Harris, I've talked about it before, but if at any point of the season Mac Jones starts to take over and be the starting quarterback, you're looking at a pretty good season for Damian Harris because Cam Newton's not going to be in there to gobble up the rushing touchdowns. So in 10 games last year, as a second-year player, he averaged 9.1 fantasy points per game, 690 yards, 5 yards carry, 2 touchdowns, and only 5 catches for 52 yards. But Bill Belichick kind of likes to bring his running backs along slowly. Rex Burkhead no longer with the team, so you're really looking at a 2 to 3 running back rotation at most. Damian Harris is going to lead the team in carries. So I'm kind of excited and optimistic here. You see a handful of games with double digits, a 4.7, a 6, a 7.1. If he can kind of smooth this out and get used in the passing game a little bit more, and especially if he starts scoring, a touchdown every other week, you're looking at Damian Harris as a potential beast who can, flirt with 1,000 yards. So I'm feeling pretty good about our running back group. We got 4 decent options at the running back spot. We got 4 pretty good wide receivers, Darren Waller, Jalen Hurts. Pretty much our base is set, and we can just continue to pick BPA, best player available. So I'm going to go back to my flex rankings. We'll kind of unhighlight that. So I don't know. I'm feeling pretty good about this draft so far. And maybe, at this point, let me just take a peek at my running backs and see if anybody else sticks out. I still like Michael Carter, a potential rookie that you can get from the Jets. There's Zach Moss. There's Naheem Hines. I'm assuming Kenyon Drake is off the board already. Zach Moss is probably the best running back. Maybe we'll take Michael Carter here next. And then at this point, it's going to be all pretty much handcuffs and PPR scat backs. So Carter would be the prize. Let's just take a peek at the receivers and see who's kicking for depth. You can still get any new Indianapolis Colt wide receiver that you want. We just missed Michael Carter. Dang it. T.Y. Hilton off the board. Let's take a look here. Zach Moss. There were signs last year that Zach Moss was getting ready to take over the backfield with snaps. He got hurt a couple times throughout the season, especially early. So he wasn't really healthy at all last year. And at this point in the draft, he is kind of the starting running back. I don't really see anybody else here that makes sense. So we'll snag Zach Moss. We all of a sudden have 5 interesting running backs to play with. I really wanted Michael Carter. But I don't know. We'll finish up with 3 more flex spots. Defense kicker, I always say for last. If you guys are interested in who I would take for defense and kicker, give me Washington. I want Washington's defense. Tampa Bay's defense could be pretty nice. Steelers are up there. Otherwise, the 49ers should be a lot better this year too. Ravens are interesting. They did lose a couple pieces, but if I had to pick the one team that I could get, it's probably Washington. Maybe the Rams. Some sneakier lower, low cost defenses. The Browns defense is going to be really good this year, and I think the Patriots are going to be pretty pesky as well. So those are some of the defenses that stick out. Kicker, like just take it by ADP. Harrison Butker for the Chiefs, #1 scoring team. I wouldn't mind as long as Rodgers is back. Where's Mason Crosby? Because he was dealing last year. He's really cheap. But I don't know. Just Jason Sanders for Miami, Younghoe Koo, Atlanta. Kickers, defenses, try not to use them if you can. But we're just going to filter by flex. Let's see. Do we need a backup tight end? Did Tyler Higbee go yet? We can still get Tyler Higbee as our backup tight end. So that makes a lot of sense. Again, Gerald Everett is now with Seattle. Tyler Higbee had that massive run in 2019 as the tight end 1 to finish the season. So if we needed a backup tight end, I'd really like Tyler Higbee there. If we needed a backup quarterback, it's kind of whatever we want. I have a hard time passing up on Kirk Cousins. I don't think people realize just how good of a season Kirk Cousins had last year. Now, I don't like to chase stats. Like Cousins was quarterback what? By PPR. He was quarterback 11 last year. That's over Matt Ryan, over Stafford, over some players here that you wouldn't have expected. So Kirk Cousins sticks out. He seems to be a pretty stable and safe option here. He had almost second best season of his career for fantasy points per game, 18.5, and just consistency. Very consistent. He only had one disaster game. Otherwise, everything's over double digits. So if I want to wait for a backup quarterback, that's probably the guy that I find to be the cheapest value. And then, so we'll wait for Cousins as one of our picks. And just looking at some of these wide receivers now, Paris Campbell, Elijah Moore could be a really fun rookie for the Jets. It sounds like he's had a hell of a training camp so far. He sticks out here as a player that I wouldn't mind grabbing right now. So we're going to snag Elijah Moore on the team. I do have hope for Paris Campbell. I do like Nelson Aguilar. But just so we get a rookie on this team, I'm going to pull Elijah Moore here because he's one of those players that in 2 weeks from now when the pads come on and everyone's talking about Elijah Moore, he's probably not going to be a 12th round pick anymore. So he's probably going to lead that team in receptions this year. And we got 2 more spots to fill. We discussed a backup quarterback, a backup tight end. You guys know who I want to target. But I guess for deeper sleepers, if I don't get Tyler Higbee, Cole Kmet, there's Jared Cook, Blake Jarwin, Anthony Berkser, Gerald Everett. We talked about him. A handful of tight ends. So my position on tight ends this year is draft one early. If you can do it, do Kelsey, once 107, 108, take him in the first round if you can stomach it. Otherwise, just wait for Darren Waller at the beginning of round 3. If you're not in position to get Waller, Kittle's an interesting option. Otherwise, I really do like Kyle Pitts or TJ Hawkinson. If I don't get one of those 5, I'm just waiting to make like a ragtag tandem. So I do think it's an advantage to lock in a stud tight end early. At the quarterback position, I've kind of discussed my favorite value being Russell Wilson. I think he's going way too cheap, and he can be like I have him as a top 6 quarterback. Let me see. He's my QB6, and he's kind of going as like the 9th, 10th quarterback. So I like to target a guy outside the top 5 in ADP and make sure he gets on like a lot of my teams. And that's this year it's him. So we get Tyler Higbee as our backup tight end. He didn't have the greatest year last year, but they kind of split time with him and Gerald Everett. And this season, it's going to be him all the time. Let me just go look at the tight end rankings from last season. We'll go by PPR. So Higbee, tight end 18 last year, but again, he had to deal with the tight end number 24, Gerald Everett, taking a lot of his stats. But between the two, Higbee had 60 targets, Everett had 61. That's 121 targets to the tight end spot. 41 catches for Everett, 44 for Higbee. That's 85 catches. 521 yards for Higbee, and it looks like 417 for Everett. That's over 900, and that's 938 yards, and then 6 touchdowns between the two. So there's a lot of upside there with the Rams tight end. I'm all aboard getting Higbee. Higbee can be your tight end 1, and you can draft him as your tight end 2. It seems kind of stupid. So I really like where Tyler Higbee's going in drafts. If you guys wanted some sleepers, Jared Cook, he's going to be paired with Justin Herbert. He's going to be a good red zone target. Blake Jarwin's there. Anthony Berkser. I don't know how a team is going to defend the Tennessee Titans this year. I've talked about it before, but Julio Jones and A.J. Brown on the outside. You have to step up in the box for Derrick Henry. It's pick your poison. Do you want them to run all over? Do you want them to just throw it over the top of you? And then if any of those, Henry, Julio, or A.J. Brown are not open, Anthony Ferguson is just going to be kind of leaking around the backside and just catching, 10 yard passes. But Gerald Everett, who knows with O.J. Howard too? I'm interested in him in the Tampa Bay offense. Adam Troutman's going to be the starting tight end for the Saints. At this point in the draft, get players you want to root for and that you think could be a big value at ADP. So I basically just have my one more pick to make. I've already kind of made it. I want Kirk Cousins here. I do like Ryan Fitzpatrick, but again, a team that has a really, really good defense, a really good running back. They have, a couple good, throwing options. But I think for the most part, Kirk Cousins is a little bit safer quarterback too. Fitzpatrick, tends to be a little hot and cold. So Baker Mayfield, Justin Fields, there's so many backup quarterback twos. Jameis Winston, you could legit wait for the entire draft and just get Kirk Cousins and Baker Mayfield as your last two picks, and you should be fine. So we're going to take Kirk Cousins. Our draft is pretty much set. I'll recap it here. Our quarterbacks, Jalen Hurts and Kirk Cousins. We should somehow, finish with a top 10 quarterback among the two. The running back, we're kind of playing chicken with our running back too. We have Derrick Henry locked and loaded as the one, but we need one of the guys to step up here. That's Javonte Williams, James Conner, Damian Harris, Zach Moss. So we got 4 bullets in the chamber to see if an RB2 connects. Otherwise, we have a really good wide receiver group. We have Calvin Ridley, DJ Moore, T. Higgins, Michael Gallup, Elijah Moore. 5 good players for 3 spots there. Darren Waller, who might be the best tight end in fantasy this year. And then defense and kicker. What are we doing here? I don't really play in any leagues that have them. At this point in the draft, Rams, Browns, of course, Colts, really good defenses. Don't sleep on the Vikings defense. I think the Vikings are going to be a much improved defense this year. They do get to play Detroit, the Chicago Bears. We'll see about the Packers. But the Vikings have an interesting defense this season. And then for kicker, kicker will be my last pick. Get your defense in the penultimate round there, and then always save kicker as your last pick. But otherwise, if you could totally knock out kicker and defenses from your league, I would do so. And if anyone is still watching, listening, don't forget to like the video, thumbs up, subscribe if you're new. And then if I have any diehard people that watch the full video, I'm running a free fantasy football league this year. I've invited a handful of people into it. So if you're oh, what's that? I probably already invited you. But if you're interested in a free fantasy football league this year, just let me know in the email. You can email me at thefellowkgb or thefellowkgb@gmail.com. I'm up to pick right here. So I'm just going to take the Packers defense because I'm from Green Bay, Wisconsin. And I don't know. We're doing a free league. There's no defense or kickers. It's a PPR Superflex league. If you are interested, email me, thefellowkgb@gmail.com, and I'll send you the invite. Let's see here. If you could, I would have got a better running back instead of T, though. So let's look at that. So when I took T. Higgins, who was on the board? So I could have had Mike Davis, who I don't know if I trust Mike Davis. Really, the only other running back there would have been probably Kareem Hunt. I think Kareem Hunt would have been probably the pick there. But part of me too, it's I have T. Higgins ranked as my wide receiver 26. Kareem Hunt I have as my running back number 24, 25. So I just wanted, it's a preference call at that point. I like T. Higgins, and I think I got some potential bullets at the running back spot here that could help us out. So, and we'll see. I don't know. I've been playing Superflex for the last couple of seasons. I kind of have some things that have been working for me, but it should be a lot of fun. PPR Superflex League. So if you're interested, email me at thefellowkgb@gmail.com. We'll get you signed up. Right. So, and that's part of a theory that I've been testing the last few years, where I don't want to reach for positions at the draft. The number one rule for fantasy football is if something that I said made sense to you, roll with it. I guess if something doesn't make sense, trust yourself, do what feels right to you. But the number one rule is to have fun. You have to draft players that you want on your team. I really like T. Higgins' game. I think he's a top 30 wide receiver as a floor. He already was last year as a rookie. with Joe Burrow playing 10 games. I just think it could be really, really nice. And the Bengals are going to run the most 3 wide receiver sets in the league, which means Higgins does not come off the field. It should just be a much better situation for the Bengals offense. So just hopefully Joe Burrow is ready to roll week 1, I guess, of training camp. We'll see what he can do. But I don't know. That's the draft so far. So I hope you guys liked it. Hope you learned something. And again, I'm not trying to push anything in particular here. This is more of an idea. This is just seeing what happens. If you can't get a stud running back too, you got to make a committee approach. So we have Javonte Williams, James Conner, Zach Moss, Damian Harris. Hopefully one of these guys can step in and plug it up for us. Otherwise, again, just knowing your weakness after the draft. I don't know how many times I've been able to pick up a player or two that first week in free agency. And especially if you do free agency, you need to have a waiver wire auction where you have like your $100 and you're bidding against your league mates. You got to get rid of the waivers, the 1 through 12 order inverse standings. It's okay if you have a weak spot going into the draft. I remember last year, one of the kids in my league, it was a super flex league, and he only had Ryan Tannehill as his quarterback, and he kind of just fumbled around for a little bit, and he was able to plug in some quarterbacks, throughout the free agents period, and he did fine. You make moves. The draft is just one part of the championship run. You have to be good in free agency. You have to flirt with some trading ideas, and you have to make good roster decisions. So the number one rule for drafting, yeah, exactly. James Robinson, Antonio Brown, things are going to open up. So for me, it's more about have fun, get players you want to root for. So that's going to be my main message for the rest of the draft prep. So that's going to do it for tonight's video. I'll be live. I don't know if I'm going to go live tomorrow. I just might upload it. We'll see. But we're doing a lot of fun stuff the rest of the week. I'll be going over my running back stats, my wide receiver stats, and my tight end stats, and we'll identify some players that should be on your radar for the drafts. We'll see. And trade, I'm not a big trade guy. I don't like to. Trade questions are tough because, a lot of people ask for trade advice, and it's hard to not know the context of the whole team and the whole situation. So I'll do my best for trades, but I tend to not do trades. If I get offered trades, I'll talk to people. But if you know your weakness, you can. There's always a way to improve it. So if I wanted a stronger RB2 here, I could potentially trade away T. Higgins after a big blow up game. So the draft is all about just collecting the guys you like and the players that you think could be stuck. Everything's long term with how I think. The goal of fantasy football is to win a championship, so you have to identify players that you want to be starting week 17 of the season. So this was a lot of fun, though. This was a lot of fun. Thank you guys for hanging out. We'll be live. Maybe another mock draft this week, but otherwise we're going to be pumping out some statistical content and projections data. So the good videos are on their way. Thank you guys for your time. Have a good rest of your evening. We'll see you guys in the next one. Have a good night. Peace.